Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to talk about something that is really important. I think it's something that everybody wants to know what it is or how to do it, and the topic for today is what separates the best players from the top players. So we're talking about the highest top 5 to 10 players versus everybody else. To begin with, this is my partner Gardner. Gardner, what is it that you think that the highest players do differently than the other players?
Consistency and shot selection.
Okay, those are both true. And there's a lot of things that the top players do differently than the other players, but today we're going to touch on 3 things. I call them the 3 S's: shot selection, shot placement, and speed up. Okay, the top players execute those 3 things extremely well, and that is what separates them from the rest of the crowd. And in today's lesson, today's video, we're going to go over those things, talk about them, and put those into play. So the first one we're going to talk about is speeding up. And in one of my other videos, we talked about kind of snapping the wrist and attacking the ball. I'll link that in my description below for you to watch. And so we're going to talk about speeding up. The top players know when and know how to speed up. When you think of speeding up, what comes to your mind, Gardner?
Attacking the body, low over the net.
Okay, so exactly, you're attacking the ball, attacking the body, and the thing that the top players know how to do is when to do it. You'll see a lot of the lower players, they either have one mode, whether it's all attack or all defense. The top players, they can do both. They can be defensive, and then all of a sudden on a dime, they can be offensive. And so being able to distinguish when to speed up versus when not to is really what separates a lot of the top players from the rest of the crowd. And the second thing that the top players do differently than the crowd is shot placement. When I say those words, or when you hear those words, what comes to your mind, Gardner?
Precision and, yeah, awkward.
Awkward, okay, that's great. They can make their opponents feel awkward. And so what the top players do versus the rest of the crowd is shot placement. When they're hitting these balls, they can place these balls where they want to go. At the lower level, they're just kind of blocking it to the near vicinity of 1 to 2 to 3 feet around there. The top players, if you give them a target, they will be able to hit that target within a few shots. So to reiterate, the top players, you give them a target, the highest top players, they're going to be able to hit that target very quickly, within inches of that target. And that's super effective because when you get in these quick exchanges up at the net, they're able to dictate and say where they want the ball to go, and they're able to jam their opponents, therefore giving themselves an easy ball to put away. And so that's a very, very important thing that these top players do differently than the rest of the crowd is shot placement. All right, and then the last thing that the top players do differently than the rest of the crowd is shot selection. So this one kind of blends into some of the other things that we talked about, but when you hear of shot selection, what comes to your mind?
Being smart with the ball, where you put it, and also depends on tournament play or rec play, and whether you're having fun or not.
Exactly. So he nailed it. It's kind of being smart with the shot. They know when to do topspin, they know when to do slice, they know when to speed up the ball, and they know when to be defensive with the ball. And so by implementing all of these things, these top players are going to come out on top because they're a little bit more smart. They have a little bit more wisdom than the rest of the players. The rest of the players, as I kind of said earlier, they kind of have one mode. It's all on, it's all attack, or it's all defense. These top players, they're adaptive. They're able to change the shots. They're able to speed it up, slow it down. They're able to hit targets where they want, and they know exactly what shot they want to hit, whether it be an angle or a hard, flat knuckleball or slice or a lob. You'll see these top players execute this in a different way than the rest of the crowd does. The first drill that we're going to do is going to demonstrate how the top players speed up and what type of balls they speed up on. So the margin of window, the margin of error is very small, but these top players, they're going to be able to execute on just the slightest mishit from their opponents. One more time. So just the slightest mishit, these top players are going to take advantage of. If they don't do that, they're going to stay in these points for very long periods of time, and they don't want to do that. They want to take advantage of the opportunity when it arises. The second thing we're going to talk about is shot placement. And so for the purpose of this drill, I'm going to illustrate how the top players can hit targets where they want. So this next drill, we're going to talk about shot placement. And so for the purpose of this one, I'm going to be kind of attacking these balls. However, this applies to all the other shots, whether they're driving or dropping in a specific zone or just dinking. These top players, they're going to be able to get it within that zone within inches, whereas your standard average player, they're going to be within feet or much further than that, okay? So I set up 3 cones right here. Hopefully I can hit them. I'm feeling a little bit of pressure, and so if I miss them, we're just going to cut it so it makes me look good. Okay, so I'm going to attack, and I might not hit it every single time, but I will hit it within inches. And so that's what I'm getting at, is these top players, they're going to be able to hit locations within inches, if not the target itself, every single time. So I'm going to be attacking these ones. Yeah, a little bit higher. Yeah, so more right here. Yep. So each time I got the cone on the 3rd ball, but the first 2 were really close within that target. And so the top players, as I said, they're going to be able to hit these targets or these zones within inches, and that's going to help them set up the point, set up the ball for the next shot. Okay. And so for this last drill, we're going to talk about shot selection. And shot selection comes down to knowing what type of shot you want to hit or you need to give your opponent. As I said earlier, a lot of times players, they have one mode, whether it be all slice, all topspin, all flat balls. The top players, they can do slice, topspin, flat, whatever it is. They adapt to each situation. So I'll throw in one slice, another one, and then this one, I can speed it up, even though I missed it. So I can slice it, dink, I can slice it, I can topspin it, I can slice it, I can topspin it, and I can speed up, okay? So that's the variety of shots. It's not one gear, it's not one mode. They can do topspin, slice, attack, defense, whatever it is. And that really makes them effective and dangerous when they're playing different matches, because it doesn't matter what style they play against, they can adapt and compete with every single person. What did you learn in today's lesson? Do you remember the 3 S's? Yeah, shot selection, shots placement, and speed up. Awesome. Real quick, can you give like one sentence about each one? Yeah, shot placement, be really precise, practice with cones. Shot selection, be smart, and speed up, know when it's the right ball, and attack. Okay, awesome. Those 3 things, they're pretty self-explanatory, the names, but by doing those 3 things, yourself, you can get much better, and that is what separates the top players from the rest of the crowd. They do those things, those 3 things better than the rest of the people out there. Welcome back.